You can do it. You can go create. Just get to it. I promise you'll feel great. Because life can get ugly, and art sure can too. What matters is to do it. Let those feelings flow through you.
Hello, welcome back to the Ugly Podcast. It's me, your host, Laura Alexander. They, them. I am a white androgynous person with big round glasses and short curly hair a la Justin Timberlake from the 90s. And today I'm wearing a beige crew neck with squiggly illustrations on it. And I've got an awesome guest for you who I met very randomly, and I'm excited to go into that. But briefly, my guest is a painter, occasionally crochets, loves romance movies, books, and Korean dramas. She's a spiritual person and is still finding her place in the world and loving the journey. Welcome. Can you please introduce yourself with your name, your pronouns, and a brief visual description, which is also good for me because I can't see you right now.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Skye. I have brown hair, brown eyes. I'm half Mexican and I'm wearing black currently. I don't really know what else to say now.
That's great. I think you're good. Did you say what pronouns you use?
Oh, she, her.
Perfect.
Yep.
Excellent. Thanks so much for agreeing to be here and just agreeing to talk to a random stranger in a Thai restaurant.
Yeah.
Were you on a date?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was like, I don't know what these people are doing, but they're talking about this person's art and I need to butt in immediately.
Yeah, no, it was not a date. It's just a friend.
Cool. Well, that's better then. I feel less
Yeah.
awkward then.
Yeah.
Do you want to just share what kind of art that you like to make? And I mean, I've seen stuff on your Instagram, which I'll share in the description of this episode.
Mhm.
Which they're super cool. So I'd love to hear more about like just your style and how you started making this stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much. That means a lot that you like my art. It's very strange, the term that I give my art. The best way I can describe my art is very like abstract, but also very feelings based. So
Yeah.
it's really personal to me. For a while, it's been my outlet to express myself and understand what I'm feeling at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
I love that and appreciate that so much. It's also very like eerie and like spooky, which I love. Yeah, that's so cool. What's like your relationship to creativity been like throughout your whole life, and then like where are you at now with it?
Yeah, so starting with my childhood when I was younger, I used to love drawing. I would try to draw like mostly cartoon stuff, but I would always get so frustrated because it never looked like the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, um, yeah, I would always try to draw like SpongeBob, like My Little Pony, and it would never come out right. And I stopped drawing because of that. I stopped
Mm-hmm.
drawing for probably like 4 to 5 years. And all throughout high school, I didn't really do art at all. It'd be like a little bit here and there, and it'd always be something like copying like Scream or
Mm-hmm.
Michael Myers or like copying something.
Yeah.
And then I stopped again for a couple of years and picked it up around like 2021. Picked it up again and I just started drawing, just getting my feelings out there, and I just stopped caring about what it was going to look like or what it was going to come out to be. And it's been crazy. It's been such a crazy journey because I've I don't even know when it happened, but I separated the critique that I've had with art and drawing, and I just kind of put the paint or the pen like wherever it wanted to go, and it's just been such a nice outcome every single time.
Yeah. I love that so much. It's so hard to get to that point.
Yeah, yeah.
You said you like it was like in 2021. Do you know? I mean, so something that I mean, for me personally, like 2021 was also when I returned to my creativity. So like
Oh yeah.
that's a fun coincidence. But I swear to God, it was the pandemic. Like it just like made everybody be like, "What do I actually want? I'm stuck inside, and I have to like actually confront myself." I don't know if that was like if that rings true for you, or if like there was anything else that really like pushed you to just be like, no, I'm fed up with thinking that I'm not good enough, and I'm just like ready to get my art on the page.
Yeah, no. Maybe it was the boredom. Maybe it could have been.
Boredom is a very powerful motivator. I think we try to avoid boredom like a little too much.
Yeah, I think when you sit in boredom enough, you, well, for me personally, finally stand up and I'm like, I gotta do something,
Mm-hmm.
something creative, something with my hands,
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been practicing, like, taking a lot of distractions away from me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I used to play video games a lot, and I made a rule for myself. I was like, okay, I'm not going to play on the weekdays. And that led to not playing on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't play that often anymore. And that frees up so much time to like read or paint or just exist.
So we just had some technical difficulties, but that's totally fine. But we were talking about your relationship to creativity, and like how you got boredom. We were talking about boredom. Um, yes, and
Yes.
how necessary it is to actually do the thing. And then also, this is okay. Now I'm remembering. All the things are coming back to me. I was commending you on your self-restraint to actually follow through on goals that you set for yourself and like
Hmm.
limiting video games. Any advice on that? Because my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, for social media, it's easier for me because Instagram actually has a timer that you can set and it'll pop up. I have
Yeah.
mine for 45 minutes and it's like, hey, time to get off of Instagram. Sometimes I listen to it, sometimes.
I was gonna say I override that a lot.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like shh, 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 shh. It's fine.
Yeah. For the most part, it works. But sometimes, because I talk to people on Instagram, so I'm like, well,
Yeah.
no, I want to keep talking to them. Um, but for the most part, that works for me. For the video game thing, that I don't even know what advice I could give for that. I just made made the choice to not play games during the
Yeah.
week.
Well, I think like when we set goals for ourselves like that and then we actually do the thing that we love doing and we get that kind of like positive reinforcement, then it's just like it becomes easy, like
Yeah.
if you're making a goal to like limit social media or video games or whatever, and then you are miserable doing like something else that you're just like, I really need to disconnect and I need to zone out, like you're a lot less likely to follow through with that. Whereas like maybe if you're making space for your art and you're making space to like let yourself be, and just like have that like special time with yourself, then you're a lot more likely to follow through with that goal.
That makes a lot of sense actually, because I have been working a ton on my art. I haven't done art in probably 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
like little little drawings here and there, but I absolutely love painting, and that it takes so much time to paint
Mm-hmm.
and to just have like detail, and um, that has been, you're right, it has been such a nice like thing, outlet to have instead of just rotting away on video games.
Yeah. That's what I noticed, like, because as we're talking, I'm like, wait a second, like, I have found success in this where, like,
Yeah,
I haven't, like, been binge watching TV so much anymore. And, like, when, like, after work, I'm so much less likely to be like, okay, I need to, like, disconnect, I need to zone out and watch something. I'm more like, okay, I'm done with work. I want to, like, go be present somehow, whether that's, like, on a walk, whether that's, like, with friends or making art or like doing something like creative with my time and asking myself, how would I actually like to spend this evening instead of how do I need to disconnect and zone out right now? Um, so I have
yeah.
in fact succeeded in that,
Yeah,
but I
that
still have a toxic relationship with social media.
I feel like we all do at
I
this
know.
point.
We can't help it. It's
Yeah.
not our fault.
Yeah.
Where do you find yourself now with like your creative goals and such?
Hmm. Phrase that differently.
Like, so you're loving just like making your art.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were talking before we started recording that you're hoping to be able to like sell your art. So I'm curious, like, kind of where the relationship between making your art and then maybe your goals for your art, maybe like what are some of the, I don't know, where's your head at for that piece of it? I don't know. Did that I feel like I made it more confusing.
A little bit. It's okay. I'll try to answer. I mean, it's weird. You know, it's so weird because I would love to sell my art and get it out there and like have other people across the world enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I would absolutely love for people to enjoy my art. But right now, it's kind of fine tuning my technique, kind of, and I'm still working with acrylic currently. Eventually, I want to go into oil painting.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of good things about oil paints. Um, and so I feel like I'm still kind of like I'm not quite there yet, um, especially as you get into finishing the painting.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds so simple because it really is. You just put put the varnish on there, you know. But I have yet to do that. I have yet to do that. All of my paintings are, for the most part, like unvarnished, and before I sell art to people, I want to be in a space where I'm like, okay, this is an actual finished product,
Mm-hmm.
and like have it all together before I finally take that step.
Yeah. What goes through your mind when you think about adding varnish to like
Oh
one
my
of your
god,
existing paintings?
ruining it. I mean, like, so in the past, I have bought different like finishing top coats, and it has ruined a few. It has
Oh,
ruined.
okay.
Yeah, I did it on smaller paintings, thank goodness, um, and tested it out, and it's like very chunky and just totally ruined them. But
Interesting.
I know there's a lot of thinner varnishes out there. I think part of me is scared to take that leap because I know it's going to lead me closer to actually getting to my goal, which is so weird because I want that, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
also like kind of dancing in the middle right now.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. Like, you put so many hours into this painting and then just adding that finishing touch can completely destroy it. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, that fear makes a lot of sense. And you just reminded me, I came across this artist on Instagram a couple weeks ago, and I'm obsessed. Her name is Lauren Cutts. I just looked up her name. She's an oil painter that practices non-attachment, and
Mm.
like she creates these like hyper realistic paintings and then intentionally smudges them
Mm.
and then like adds more detail and stuff. So they end up being these really cool paintings that are intentionally ruined, quote unquote ruined, right? And then like she finishes them from there and like adds other details to the smudged painting, but they look really cool. I'm gonna add this to the chat and you can check it out yourself.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really cool, like, just like a wild practice like intentionally ruin these paintings that you spent so much time on,
Yeah.
or at least like having that step to be like, okay, I'm like jumping off the edge right now of like I put so much time in this and like maybe I'm about to ruin it, oh my god. But like that kind of sounds like that's the process anyway, like even if this wasn't like, even if you don't do like this intentional practice of like smudging something, like it's just you adding the varnish in itself is just like a risk to your painting. That's very interesting. I didn't know that was a part of like oil paint. Wait, sorry, you said you
Yeah.
did oil painting or you do
No.
acrylics?
Yeah, I do acrylic currently. It
Yeah.
doesn't smudge it. What I've experienced is the top coat clumping. I think
Oh.
I might have put too much. I might have like not did it right.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since then, I've been so scared to do it on the paintings that I see as good or decent.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, that's why you got to do it on the ugly ones.
no, but I like them all.
Well, okay. So this is my philosophy on life. So if you like them all, then you have to intentionally make one that is bad that you will hate on purpose, and like then you
Yeah.
practice on that one, and like that is the intentional ugly sacrifice to the ugly art gods that you then can practice varnishing on.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I have seen this. I have seen her Instagram actually.
Yeah,
It's super
I
cool.
want to have her on the podcast because I really like the practice that she has,
Yeah,
and I love just like the. I'm gonna send her this episode. Maybe she'll come on. I don't know. Some people ignore my requests, and that's okay. But I just remember one video that she posted, which was like, um, it was like, how do you not be scared to like let go of your painting? And she's like, I'm scared every time I do it. It's terrifying and I do it anyway. And I'm like, oh, that's so good. That's
yeah,
exactly it. That's the process.
yeah. I can see that. It adds so much movement to it.
Yeah.
Seeing like how she smears it, it adds so much.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I love that like she wouldn't have discovered that style if she
If
hadn't been willing to like fuck around, you know?
yeah.
Or like hadn't been willing to mess up a painting, or hadn't just like messed something up on accident. Maybe she messed something up on accident and then was like, wait a second, this is kind of cool. Like instead, like what if we take that approach with our art each time, and like anytime we think, I messed this up, it's bad, what if instead we were like, well, what can I make out of it instead? Like what if
Mhm.
I can actually change it? What if it's not ruined? What if it's just different? I think
Yeah,
there's just like a lot of cool ways we can think about our art differently from that perspective.
definitely. I approach my art very, how do I put this? Very blank minded. Like
Mm,
I never have anything in my mind. Like I'm not like, okay, I'm going to draw a lion. Like I never have anything
mm-hmm,
in my mind of like wanting to make something. It's always it's always just me painting or drawing. Like I just let the paintbrush or the pen like flow, and surprisingly, I have quite a few portraits that come out, which
mm-hmm,
is very surprising to me. Um, this current one that I'm making is super cool. Like it's a portrait, and she has like all of these arms, and I'm just super excited to finish it. It's been taking me a very long time, like a couple
Cool.
weeks now. Yeah.
I love that. I find that's a very similar thing to the way I make my art. Like if I do go into it thinking it needs to look a certain way, I always either like I don't know, I just like can't. I can't do it. I just like can't. I either freeze or my mind goes blank or I just make something that I'm just so unhappy with. But whenever I go into it with that blank mindset, like you're saying, then it's always like I don't know, there's just a lot more room for like surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Did Is that something that like you kind of just stumbled into or like did you see other artists that inspired you to do that or I don't know. I'm always interested to just know like cuz sometimes like some of us are artists in the sense that like we just make stuff and we like to play around and stuff. But then some people like it's a impulse that like it's like no, I have to create something. Like there's something in my brain that I have to get out. And I'm always curious like what kind of artists people are.
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like I am the second thing you said.
Mm-hmm.
Not not in a sense of like I have to get this out, but it's more like I need to understand what I'm feeling.
Mm.
It's so strange. My relationship with art is so incredibly personal,
Mm-hmm.
and it's literally just what am I feeling right now, and then I paint it, and then afterwards I look at it and I'm like, okay, what can I interpret from this? And a lot of times it's like me having these very strong internal struggles, and I'm like, wow, that's so great that I can tell myself this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's
like
pretty
a
cool.
conversation with your subconscious.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, yeah, it's super strange. Yeah. Um, what was your other question?
Uh I don't know.
Oh, it was. I think it was how I came to
Yeah, yeah,
make
yeah.
art.
How you
Um,
came to start painting like that.
yeah, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, it was that huge break of time I had, and then coming back to it, I I just didn't have any expectations that I had previously.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the lack of expectations and not having not having anything, not having guidelines.
Yeah.
I think really let myself flow and just be, you know.
Yeah. That I think that's the best way to like discover your own like personal brand of creativity. Not brand in the sense of like branding yourself, but just like your flavor, you know.
Mhm.
Um especially like cuz when we're growing up and you're in school, you're taught like there's like the one way to do things and like there's guidelines for everything you do including art class. Like
Mhm.
it's very rare that you have just like true free form creativity that like there are no rules or recommendations or how to's and so like finally breaking out of that is something that's very rare. So that's awesome that you found that. I love that.
Yeah, I wish I could express or explain or have like something to help or to guide, but I really don't. It's just something that it was almost like I grew out of the expectations.
Mm,
And I find that bleeding into my life with almost everything, like the
mm-hmm.
lack of expectation,
Yeah.
just very strange. It's like strange, but it's nice, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's so nice. That was precisely my experience as well. Like as I started like taking expectation off of my art and like started playing with art in a way that had no expectations, it started carrying over into my life. And it's like, oh wait, how do I actually want to be in this moment? And like, what expectations am I holding myself to, and like, who am I trying to appease right now? And really, it was just like, oh, I'm, and that's when I came out as gay. It's like, and I'm queer. It just like gave me a lot more like freedom and creativity, and or freedom of expression, really. Not just in art, but just in everyday life. I think art just really helps you figure out who you are, and I think that's really special.
Yeah. Yeah. I've met so many people, and quite a few of them have always like told me, "No, I'm not artistic. No, I can't
Mm-hmm.
draw. No, I can't do this." And I have this thing in my head. I'm like, everyone can draw. Like
Yeah.
everyone has this capability of some sort of it's just how you view life, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's your perspective, and art is so different across the board. You know, you ask like 5 people to draw a flower and they're all going to be different because
Mm-hmm.
that's how they view themselves and view the world, and I think it's so beautiful, you know.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
We flowed really perfectly into my next question for you, which was, how has getting to know yourself influenced your relationship to art?
Yeah. It's been a journey, to say the least. Getting to know myself from the very like broad sense of getting to know myself, like understanding. I don't even know how to answer this question. It's like,
You're doing great.
yeah, thank you. Getting to know myself. Honestly, it's kind of been hand in hand. Like my art has personally been kind of holding my hand and telling me like, "Hey, what do you got going on here?" You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, and the way that I interpret my own art is very, like I said, you know, it's very personal. It's very specific sometimes too. For example, I'll make a painting of a portrait and it's a woman and there's like a hole in the neck. And I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to interpret this? And I interpret it as me having a lack of a voice in the world, a lack of,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's so weird how it all just lines up like that. And I've been really working on being more honest and communicate and just existing, and that shows in my art. I don't know how to explain it other than that. It's just like it just shows, like my relationship with art and my relationship with myself has just been so hand in hand. It's like, yeah, you fixed this, but now this is your problem, or like, you know, yeah,
There's always something else.
yeah, there is.
No, that's so, well, I mean, like we were saying earlier, you're like giving a voice to your subconscious and that like inner self that maybe got buried along the way.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah, I have noticed recently I have been speaking more on my truth and standing my ground, and it's
Mm-hmm.
been such a great experience. Um I meditate a lot and I also do yoga,
Mm-hmm.
and that has also helped so much with just aligning myself with myself.
Yeah.
And it's been great.
Yeah, it's that embodiment and
Yeah.
like realizing that like getting aligned in your body and your mind, which your mind is part of your body. um, but like, yeah, it's all very connected, and then like on top of that, giving your like deeper suppressed thoughts like a place to show up on a page and like show something else happening in your body that you might not realize, which I think is super cool, especially with like a lot of your paintings are of like bodies. And so it like maybe gives you that like even deeper perspective on what might be happening or what you need to process. or what you need to integrate into your life. I think that's really
Definitely.
cool.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I know we don't have like video, but I am curious. Would you like to make some ugly art with me?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Yeah, we could do that.
Awesome. So yeah, if you have like a sticky note or just like a small scrap of paper nearby, we're gonna just do like a quick 5-minute ugly art. So this is usually like, if you want to just kind of run with it, you can run with however you want, but usually I like to say like, start with just like, put your pen or whatever you're using like on the paper, touching the paper with your hand, and just like do a quick random movement with your hand. Like, don't think about it, just go. Like a squiggle or whatever.
Okay.
And then from that, we'll just set the timer and try to make something intentionally terrible on your sticky note.
Okay.
Just keeping in mind that it is indeed supposed to be ugly.
Okay.
And we can like chat while you're doing it if you want, or you
Okay,
can get
yeah,
in the zone or whatever feels good.
yeah, we can talk.
Do you, I guess, what do you do? I should rephrase this. So, since you have this like practice that you really like and really jive with, does it occur to like in your practice that you like start making something and you're like, ugh, I hate this? Like, and if so, what do you do in those situations?
Yeah, I have a few paintings that I absolutely hate. I'm like, wow, this is absolute dog shit.
I love it. Good. You're
Yeah.
doing it correctly. Congratulations.
Yeah. But I find myself not wanting to get rid of them despite hating them.
Mm.
It sucks because there's a few of them that I absolutely hate, but there's something inside me that's like, well, a lot of great artists out there have a lot of things that they've created that they absolutely hate and other people like them.
Yeah.
So I keep them. I don't paint over them. I don't throw them away. I keep them, and I'm like, well, one day someone will like this, you know.
Hey, that's a wonderful perspective. I really like that.
Yeah.
It's true. Like people like different things, and even if it doesn't apply to your taste, even though you made it, like maybe someone else will. I love that perspective.
Yeah, it's so weird. I've been practicing giving myself grace over the past like couple of months because I've been so strict on myself throughout my life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that applies to having those things where, you know, not going to play video games, you know. Giving yourself grace, I feel like, is essential to just being kind to yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because who else is going to be kind to you?
Truly.
If you're not.
Yeah. I wish that was something that I learned earlier in life. Because, yeah, I don't know, so many of us were so mean to ourselves for so long. And then it's like, really, no, you hang out with yourself more than anyone you will ever hang out with ever. Like, you need to give yourself the love that you deserve.
Yeah. I have been learning that. I notice that I spend a lot of time by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have friends, you know, we hang out occasionally, but the majority of the time, it's just me, you know?
Yeah.
I want to have a good relationship with myself. So, you know, I started being intentionally kind, you know, like I would drop a plate or something and I'd be like, well, that sucks. You know?
Well.
You know, instead of, because in the past it would be like, wow, why did you do that? You're stupid, or you're the worst, you know? But just practicing small things of being kind to yourself and like gentle, it's really helped in so many aspects in my life.
I love that so much. I noticed that like I used to use phrases like I'm an idiot, like if I did something dumb, you know, like, oh god, I'm such an idiot. or, you know, I'm blank instead
Yeah.
of like, I did a dumb thing.
Yeah.
And like that kind of shift can be so helpful, and just, oh no, it's like, it's not like a statement on who I am as a person. It's just like, oh no, I made a mistake and that's fine. Like my
Yeah.
my friend Emerson likes to use the phrase "my brain did a somersault," and I think that's so delightful. Of just like, yeah, no, I'm not a dumb person. My brain did a somersault. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
you
bringing
just
that grace into our relationship with ourselves.
Yeah, I think more people need to take that step and
Mm-hmm.
get to know themselves and be nice to
Yeah,
themselves. Like, be kind, you know.
truly.
I feel like that also has a big impact with the art and your relationship with the art that you create.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, it's all connected.
All right, that's 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So, so you can like send me a picture on Instagram or whatever. I'll show you mine.
Okay. I don't even know what I was making.
Mine turned into a. I also used a sticky note that like has a bunch of. It's like one of those sticky notes that has like a checklist on it. I don't know why that was my. I decided to use that, but it turned into a very messy thing with a dinosaur man. I guess.
Wow, so yours is actually tangible. Mine is a mess.
I mean, it's a lot of scribbles, and then I think there's like a
That's
thing.
cute. Broccoli or a
Ooh,
tree.
yours is like I
I don't even know.
I don't know, but it's cool. It's kind of like, I don't know, it feels a little trippy to me. Like maybe there's drugs involved.
There's not. But
Cool. I know. What do you mean? You're not high on this podcast with me right now? Amazing. That's so cool.
yeah, if I kept going, that would be way more detailed. I
Of
love
course.
yours. Yours is very cute.
Thank you. I'll do you mind if I share these when I share the podcast whenever it comes out?
No, I don't mind. That's totally
Cool.
fine.
I think that'll be fun. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Thanks for doing that with me. I was inspired to do this because of the last episode I recorded with Danny Abernathy. And we made ugly art like together on the podcast, and it ended up being just like a really fun, silly thing. I'm like, why don't I do this more often? Like, it's literally called the Ugly Podcast, and I talk about ugly art on it. Like, why wouldn't I just make ugly art with people on this podcast? So,
Yeah.
thank you for doing that with me. That was
Of
really nice.
course. That's fun.
Good. Well, I mean, this was awesome. We're kind of coming up on time. What was that experience like for you, intentionally making something bad?
To be quite honest,
Honesty is very welcome.
I wasn't thinking.
Perfect.
It was just me drawing and talking to you.
Excellent. Honestly, that is the literal best outcome. Like, that's what we want. Like, I don't want it to be something like Danny experienced, which she like is like, I'm freaking out and I'm like so activated. It's like, it doesn't have to be like that. Like,
Yeah.
and with practice, that piece of it does go away. Like, when I first started making intentionally ugly art, I had so much fear around it, and I was just like, ugh, like, this is terrible. And like, but then it was just like, it became a joyful practice, and then it became a like, I don't even have to think about it anymore. I just get to scribble and see what comes out, and that's the goal, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Definitely.
Well, how can people find you and support you? I will have your Instagram handle in the show notes. But yeah, or just any last thoughts or comments that you want to leave listeners with.
I mean, my Instagram is probably the only way you can reach me, at least at
Perfect.
the moment. In the future, I plan on making an Etsy account
Nice.
and selling my art. I don't know when that will be, but
Yeah.
that will be at some point.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. I will happily share whenever you get that up and running.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me on your podcast. This
Of
was a great
course.
experience. Yeah.
Good. I'm so glad. And thank you for letting some random person
Oh yeah. That
get your
was
Instagram handle at a restaurant.
that was so weird. I noticed you looking. I was like, who is this person?
Sorry. So sorry. I'm an absolute creep.
It's okay. I was like so confused because he was looking at my phone and you were like trying to look at it.
Oh god, I'm just like, how could I? And then I'm like, no, I'm being way too obvious. I have to just say something. I can't just sit here looking like a weirdo. So I just
It's okay.
introduced myself. So thank you for being gracious in that
Yeah.
invasive action on my part.
I think it was wonderful and I'm very glad that you did that.
Good. Yay.
Yeah. I think it was great.
Awesome. Thank you. That makes me really happy. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. And everybody else, remember to keep it ugly. The Ugly Podcast is created by me, Laura Alexander of Skye and Sunshine. It's produced and sort of edited also by me and written and directed by absolutely no one. Our theme song was written and produced by the amazing Zoe Tronic. If you like the podcast, be sure to rate and leave a review on your preferred platform and share with the creative people in your life. If you're interested in learning more about what I do, head to scribeandsunshine.com to learn more about my ugly art workshops and my editing services. If you haven't yet today, I dare you to make that thing you've been thinking about making but have been too scared it's gonna be terrible. Make it terrible. And as always, keep it ugly.
You can do it. You can go create. Just get to it. I promise you'll feel great.